26-14. John Stern, the Illinois State High School football playoff action, defeating Effingham 26-14. John Stern reports.
Although North Egypt Conference champion Mount Carmel failed to score in the first quarter after driving down to the Effingham 11-yard line, the Golden Aces jumped ahead 7-0 on the second play of the second quarter when Tracy Showalter scampered around left end and raced 55 yards for the touchdown. Effingham bounced back to tie the score when Barry Gravenhorst went over right tackle and broke loose for a 75-yard touchdown run. He led the Flaming Hearts with 113 yards rushing for the game. Late in the first half, Rich Eggemeyer went to the air, but Mount Carmel's Steve Priest picked off the pass. Priest brought the ball down to the Effingham 31-yard line, but the Aces lost 15 yards of that return on a clipping penalty. It didn't matter, though, as 2 plays later, John Rafferty connected with Bruce Linson, who stumbled into the end zone for a 42-yard TD pass and a 14-7 Mount Carmel lead. In the fourth quarter, Effingham drove down inside the Mount Carmel 20-yard line 3 times, but failed to score. Marvin Matchett then reeled off an 85-yard touchdown run with less than 2 minutes to play to seal Mount Carmel's 26-14 victory. The Aces are now undefeated in 10 games. John Stern, Newswatch 14.
And the Aces will now play at Nashville Saturday at 1 o'clock. Nashville a 40-8 winner over Harrisburg this afternoon. And finally, congratulations locally here in Evansville.
This Saturday, a semifinal affair for the Golden Aces taking on Pittsfield. And with today's nasty weather, practice for the big game moved inside, and our Chris Treston followed.
This is Mount Carmel's 3rd straight year in the playoffs under head coach Larry Davis, who has compiled a 104-30-1 record in his 14 years at the school. The Golden Aces are ranked #1 in 3A Illinois prep football, but the pressure of being at the top doesn't bother Coach Davis.
Of course, we like it. We'd rather be ranked #1 at the last week, you know, rather than early. We've been up there now for about 3 weeks, and it makes the kids feel good, and, you know, and that helps too, I think, because we want to keep that #1 rating.
Davis has a wealth of talent to carry that top ranking, including all Southern Illinois quarterback John Rafferty, who's hitting 62% of his passes this year. Sharing team captain honors with Rafferty are seniors Brad Jenkins and Bruce Linson. Davis said his club has had a good week of practice, and it looks like they're ready for the tradition-rich Pittsfield club. The Aces are a perfect 11-0 right now, so there's no reason to change the game plan this week.
We think we can run on them this week. We haven't thrown deep all year. We'll probably mostly just try to run powers at them and throw short when we do throw.
We are in pretty good shape, and we can go on as long as we have to.
A win Saturday would put Mount Carmel in the state championship game. Chris Treston, News Center Sports, Mount Carmel, Illinois.
That's sports history.
Football champion, only remaining unbeaten Class 3A team, Mount Carmel, will continue its quest for the state championship when the Golden Aces, in a semifinal game, host the Pittsfield Saukey Indians. This afternoon, as expected, Mount Carmel got in the right mood for tomorrow afternoon's 1:30 encounter by holding a pep assembly in the school gym. Among those featured at the rally was Channel 14 Southern Illinois reporter Len Wells. Shortly after the festivities, it was back to business for the Aces, at which time Wells talked with head coach Larry Davis.
Well, I think we've got a real good chance, better than even chance, I should say. I think we've got, they're the ones that's going to have to pick on us, you know. They had to travel. We're playing at home. We've got a little bit of an advantage there. We're going to have our hometown crowd, which is super. You know, we've played well in front of our own people all year. We've got an excellent quarterback ourselves. 2-time All-Southern Illinois. We've got an excellent fullback and tailback. He's gained the tailbacks. I think he's got 1,330 yards, something like this, in 11 ball games, 15 touchdowns. Rafferty's thrown for 62% again this year, so I think we're offensively we're going to be in pretty good shape. We're not changing anything drastically defensively. We've got a good defensive club. I think we've intercepted something like 16 or 18 passes this year. So we're not going to, you know, do anything really drastic. We're just going to go out and play the type of football offensively and defensively that we've played all year.
And if the Golden Aces can win, they'll meet the winner of the Kankakee-McNamara-Yorkville game. That'll be next week for the state title. Back with more. #1.
Mount Carmel Golden Aces took on Pittsfield in the Illinois Class 3A semifinal playoffs this afternoon. Here on the second play of the game, Daryl Martin goes around left end, 20 yards for Pittsfield, let's make it. And Mount Carmel head coach Larry Davis had to be wondering how to stop the Saukeys. Well, he got it when John Kramer put the heat on quarterback Scott Sanderson. His pass was intercepted by Marvin Matchett. Forget the flags. The Aces moved the ball up to the 40-yard line before punting. Then on Pittsfield's next possession, it's Steve Rafferty Separating Sanderson from the ball, Leon Raver recovers at the Pittsfield 23-yard line. The Aces are in business. Steve Priest caps the drive with a 2-yard touchdown run. Mount Carmel leads 7-0. Pittsfield bounced right back here in the second quarter. It is once again Martin taking the pitch out, breaks a tackle, and folks, he's off to the races, 58 yards for the touchdown. Pittsfield tried for 2. They were unsuccessful. After 2 attempts, Mount Carmel still led 7-6. John Rafferty, the quarterback of Mount Carmel, had an excellent day. He completed 11 of 17 passes for 236 yards. Here it looks like he had a 36-yard touchdown pass to Tracy Showalter, but it was called back by a holding penalty. However, that didn't matter. Marvin Matchett scored 2 second-half touchdowns as Mount Carmel went on to dominate the game and win 20-6. The Golden Aces are now undefeated in 12 games. They will play at Illinois State University in the state finals next Saturday beginning at 11 a.m. The Mount Carmel Golden Aces will meet Kankakee Bishop McNamara, a 36-22 winner over Pittsfield. Meanwhile, here in Indiana, the Class AAA the Greyhounds have now won 3 titles in the field to advance to the Illinois 3A state championship game next Saturday. Now, Carmel got rolling when Steve Rafferty separated Pittsfield quarterback Scott Sanderson from the ball. Leon Raver recovered, and 4 plays later, it was Steve Priest on a 2-yard run into the end zone for a 7-0 Mount Carmel lead. Pittsfield bounced back with Darrell Martin taking the pitch out here, then breaking a tackle and racing down the sideline, 58 yards for the touchdown. The Saukees' try for 2 failed, and Mount Carmel still led 7-6. Head coach Larry Davis then saw Marvin Matchett score 2 touchdowns in the second half as Mount Carmel dominated play after intermission to beat Pittsfield 20-6. The Aces are now undefeated in 12 games, and they will play at Illinois State University against Kankakee Bishop McNamara next Saturday morning beginning at 11 a.m. for the Class 3A title.
Well, tomorrow morning, the Tri-State's only remaining high school football playoff team, Mount Carmel, gets back on the gridiron. Top-ranked and unbeaten, the Golden Aces received a royal send-off this morning for Bloomington, where tomorrow they'll take on Kankakee McNamara for the Illinois Class 3A state championship. Shortly before his team's departure, Aces head coach Larry Davis talked with our Len Wells about tomorrow's opponent.
We know they're a real good ball team. They got a real big tailback, 6'2", about 190 pounds. We got an excellent special teams. They kick off into the end zone practically every time. I kind of hope they do. That way, you know, we're going to get the ball on the 20-yard line for sure. We've got a good punting team, good extra point people. But so have we. You know, we've got all of these things too. We've got a good, excellent quarterback, good receivers, good defensive people. I think it's going to be a whale of a ball game. And we'll pick to lose. So, you know, that gives us a little bit more incentive, I believe.
Boy, it sure does. And this is what it looked like. Hundreds of fans leaving. There'll also be hundreds more getting up with the birds, literally, to get to Bloomington, which is near Normal, tomorrow morning. Game starts at 11 a.m., and that's at Illinois State University. Good luck, Golden Aces. Bring it back against Kankakee McNamara for the Class 3A championship. Baseball, former triplet stars
has whipped Kankakee Bishop McNamara 22-8 to capture the Illinois Class 3A State High School Football Championship today. This evening, the team returned home to a wild celebration in Mount Carmel. Len Wells was there and has this report.
The Mount Carmel Golden Aces returned home victorious, Class 3A football state champions. Fans lined Market Street hours before the team arrived, positioning themselves for a good view of the victors. The entire Mount Carmel Fire Department, Sheriff's Department, and City Police led the team into town shortly after 8 o'clock this evening. Mount Carmel radio station WYER broadcast the team's progress from Bloomington live throughout the trip. Police officials said the caravan of fans strung out along Illinois Route 1 for a distance of nearly 5 miles. At the Mount Carmel High School gymnasium, hundreds gathered to greet the Aces and their head coach Larry Davis. It's been 54 years since Mount Carmel went to the championships and returned victorious, and Coach Larry Davis was ecstatic.
First thing I'd like to say, yeah! God damn, ain't this fun? I tell you what, up there on the ball field today, we had them outgunned on the field, and we sure had them outfanned in the stands. I can't begin to, you know, this is not a one-person or one-man show. This takes an entire team, the community. You can't begin to name everyone or anything or everything. I tell you, it's just great. For once in my life, for those of you who know me, I'm speechless.
The Mount Carmel Golden Aces, undefeated, the 1981 Class 3A Illinois State football champions. Len Wells, Newswatch 14.
68-year-old Paul
Mount Carmel knocked off Kankakee McNamara 22-8 to win the state Class 3A title. And Wheaton North shut out.
Things are all tightened up, or should I say, champions in high school football, the Mount Carmel Golden Aces. What a way to wind up a season Saturday up at Bloomington, winning the state championship. This is a 13-yard pass from John Rafferty to Bruce Linson. Rafferty, the player of the year in the North Egypt Conference, also passed for 1,700 yards. Marvin Hatchett on this screen pass takes it down to the 1. He later ran it in for a 14-0 Golden Aces lead. Steve Priest also added a tally on a 10-yard run. Steve had a super effort here. He wound up with 1,500 yards on the season. But as Larry Davis, the successful head coach, said, defense was the key. The Aces gave up only 57 yards total all year. A great way to end it for the 100th graduating class at Mount Carmel. Congratulations to one and all. And David, I want to thank Len Wells, who spent a weekend with the Golden Aces and all week. Super effort.
I understand there was quite a celebration that evening.
Well deserved.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike and Bill. Thank you for joining us. I'm back at 10 o'clock with Marcia. See you then.
You had some a fine performance.